Welcome back to the Relaxing Ghost channel here on YouTube. As always, your host with the most, Ghost. Got episode 2 here today of the Attitude Era review series. Got No Way Out of Texas in your house from February of 1998. Let's take a look here at the VHS covers real quick. There's the back. And this happened in February of 98 between Rumble and WrestleMania. We are live at the Compaq Center in Houston, Texas. 16,110 are in attendance, and when the show opens, Jim Ross announces that Shawn Michaels is not going to be able to compete in the main event, which is an 8-man tag, and he said due to the nature of this bout, it's non-sanctioned through the WWF. Before I get into it, guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This was a fun one to watch. The show starts off, we got 7 matches for tonight. Mark Marrow and the artist formerly known as Goldust versus the Headbangers. You know, these first few matches went pretty quickly. Before the match starts, Mark Marrow sends Sable backstage saying there's only room for one lady in the ring here tonight, which ends up being Luna. Thrasher ends up getting busted open fairly quickly on the steel steps, and Jerry Lawler ends up using that reference throughout the night, saying those steel steps are, you know, pretty brutal. Go ask Thrasher. Mosh gets tagged in. Sable comes back. Marrow ends up hitting the TKO on Thrasher, I think. Headbangers switch while Marrow is dealing with Sable. Thrasher ends up rolling up Mark Marrow for the win, and we got the Headbangers winning that match. Sable and Luna get into it here post-match and gets broken up by officials. Sable shoves down Mark Marrow, and this will lead up to, you know, their feud. We get an Owen Hart interview backstage with Michael Cole saying, you know, he's got his problem with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you know he's gonna do whatever he can to cooperate with and take out Triple H and the Outlaws and DX. Second match of the night here, we got Taka Michinoku, who is the light heavyweight champion, taking on Pantera. Sonny ends up being the guest ring announcer. Brian Christopher on commentary, and they keep making these references how Jerry Lawler and Brian Christopher are father and son, which they actually are, and Jerry Lawler keeps denying it. Really funny there. Pantera works the back, doing like camel clutch and surfboard moves. Michinoku ends up hitting the Michinoku driver for the 3. You know, pretty quick match here, fast pace. Awesome. You know, that light heavyweight title was nothing compared to the cruiserweight title, and you know, it really showed sometimes that it was created, you know, just to compete with WCW. The Quebecers versus the Godwins in our third match. You know, the Godwins end up isolating Jacques Rougeau. tagging in and out. Phineas hits a clothesline from the apron, ending up the Godwins end up winning and attack the Quebecers with the buckets after the match. Not really a fan of that match. It was like two heel teams going at it. Weird match there. Four very big men, though. Doc Hendricks interviews the New Age Outlaws. Oh man, this was awesome seeing the Outlaws there talking about Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack and Steve Austin, saying they don't care who their partner is. We had a little Attitude Era commercial after that, the one where they're saying, you know, we are real and we do have feelings and all this. The pre-stages of what the Attitude Era became. Fourth match is Jeff Jarrett, who is the NWA North American Champion. He is accompanied by Jim Cornette, Barry Windham, and the Rock and Roll Express. I talked about this in the Royal Rumble review, how WWF must have had some business partnership with the NWA, and this definitely shows it. But although the championship didn't change hands, it was weird to see, you know, the NWA championship here being defended. Although it wasn't the world title, Jarrett must have been contracted to WWF while still being the NWA North American champion, and he probably had to finish his dates with the NWA maybe before he could, you know, fully cooperate with WWF. Bradshaw is his opponent. Before the match, you know, we get Barry and the Rock and Roll Express sent to the back. Bradshaw starts off hitting Jarrett with the leather chaps. Cornette hits Bradshaw with the racket, signaling for the DQ. Or not yet. Jarrett works the leg. Bradshaw hits a powerbomb. Cornette ends up getting in the ring at this point. Jarrett hits Bradshaw with the racket, calling for the DQ. Bradshaw attacks Double J with the racket. Rock and Roll Express come back, and then at this point, Bradshaw is holding his own for a few minutes until, you know, they just gang on him 4-on-1. LOD come out, the Legion of Doom come out, making the save for Bradshaw. To a huge pop there in Texas. Triple H interview there with Michael Cole, and Triple H is saying, you know, nobody can replace Shawn Michaels, and he doesn't care who the partner is going to be. And Michael Cole, you know, being the stooge that he was back then, saying, well, if you guys don't pick a partner, officials are going to appoint you a partner. And Triple H goes on saying, nobody is worthy of being my partner. Nobody can replace HBK, the Icon. And it's going to be 3-on-4 in the main event, says Triple H. Doc Hendricks interviews the Nation after this. And this is what I miss. You know, after every match you would have, you know, an interview or a couple of interviews. And they don't do it much these days. And, you know, regarding, you know, back to you guys at the announce booth. So the Nation with a quick little interview there. And The Rock is, you know, like flaunting and showing off his Intercontinental Championship while Farouk is laying down the law. And in this match, the fifth match of the night is the War of Attrition. which the match really made no sense. I don't think this match should have happened on this show with the main event that it was. Because what the war of attrition means is to be eliminated, and this wasn't even an elimination match. So the Nation come out first at a total combined weight of 1,528 pounds. And the team of Ken Shamrock, Ahmed Johnson, DOA are at a combined weight of 1,447 pounds. Crazy. Lot of weight there. Almost 3,000 pounds. The match starts off pretty slow. You know, quick tags by each team. When when Mark Henry and Ahmed Johnson get in there, they get a huge pop. Ahmed Johnson ends up, slamming down Henry. D'Lo misses a moonsault, tags Rock, skull tags Shamrock. We get everybody in the ring at this point, brawling all over. Shamrock hits a belly-to-belly, armbar, ankle lock, Rock taps out. Ken Shamrock and his team win. After the match, The Rock is getting into it with Farouk, saying, you could have saved me. Rock walks out, and then Farouk is, trying to call him back and into the ring. Rock comes back, and they do the Nation pose. Little tension there between the Nation building up. We got a Stone Cold Steve Austin interview. Awesome seeing Austin there. Sixth match of the night. Vader versus Kane. This match was pretty good. The match starts with them brawling outside. Pretty good back and forth action, Kane, no-selling everything. Vader hits a big splash in the corner and the moonsault, and Vader doesn't cover him right away. Kane ends up sitting up. Vader gets a fire extinguisher, hits Kane with it, power bombs Kane. Kane gets up again, hits a choke slam, hits the tombstone. Kane is the winner. After the match, while Vader was getting the fire extinguisher there under the ring, there was a toolbox there, and all the tools got scrambled up while he grabbed a fire extinguisher. After the match, Kane goes outside, grabs this big wrench, probably about 1 foot or 2 feet long, smashes Vader over the head with it, and I'm telling you, if that wasn't a worked wrench, that looked painful as ever. A crazy moment. This is when Kane was just on a destructive path, taking out everyone. Nobody could beat Kane at this point. And at this point, we move to the unsanctioned 8-man tag match. Before the match starts, there are weapons everywhere. Austin and Billy Gunn end up starting the match, brawling out. Triple H hits a trash can on Funk. Road Dogg powerbombs Funk through 2 chairs. Billy Gunn pile drives Funk on a trash can lid. And the mystery partner ends up being Savio Vega, who was part of Los Boricuas at the time. Savio Vega gets a roll of barbed wire, wraps up Cactus Jack in it, and Billy hits Road Dogg with a chair, missing Cactus. Austin gets tagged in. hits the stunner on Road Dogg for the win. Hits Billy Gunn with a stunner after that. After the match is over, Austin is celebrating. Chyna decides to get in the ring. And Austin at this point is about to leave till Chyna taps him on the shoulder, pulls him around, and hits him with the double bird. Austin was like completely shocked on the look on his face. He was like, oh my god. Austin gets in the ring, gets in Chyna's face, like what are you gonna do? I think she tries to hit him, and he ends up hitting her with a stunner. Boom, Chyna's laid out. Awesome moment there to end the show. And this is the go-home show to the WrestleMania. One thing to note here that, you know, none of the major titles were on the line. You had Owen Hart, who was in the main event. He was the European champion. The New Age Outlaws were the tag team champions. The Rock, who was the Intercontinental champion, that belt wasn't defended. And Shawn Michaels, who was the WWF champion at the time, wasn't even on the pay-per-view. So 4 of the major titles weren't defended at this show. It definitely was an off show, but I still recommend to check it out. Overall, I would say, yeah, it's about a 5 out of 5. It's a middle of the road show, but it's on the road to WrestleMania, so just expect utter chaos. So that's it, episode 2, guys. This was a tougher show to get through, but we got the job done. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to have episode 3 hopefully next weekend. Or maybe I'm going to do this every other week. We'll see how it goes. But WrestleMania 14, definitely an awesome show. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.